Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello, thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's April 27th, 2009. There's a number of news stories floating around that I thought I should make you aware of. Now, as you may be aware, I'm very busy with work, which unfortunately means that some of my reports aren't coming out quite as often as I would like. However, right now there's a little flu floating around. This is not what's called your normal seasonal flu. This is an influenza. It is based on the virus H1N1, which is a swine flu. Now the swine flu basically comes from pigs, funnily enough. However, the 1918 influenza pandemic that swept the globe, killing approximately 5 to 10% of the world's population, was also a swine flu. Headlines today: swine flu. Britain should expect cases, says Health Protection Agency chief. Basically going on and warning people within Britain that there's a flu about, and it's a fairly serious one. CIDRAP, World Health Organization, holding at Pandemic Alert Phase 3 for now. Basically saying that the flu that seems to be popping up in Mexico seems to be quite virulent, which of course is taking a knock-on effect within world markets. Mexican peso hit by swine flu outbreak. The peso has tumbled on fears that outbreak of swine flu could prolong the country's recession. Okay. Mexico's swine flu outbreak threatens to deepen economic decline, from Bloomberg. Business Spectator. FTSE hit by swine flu, down 1.2%. So this is having a knock-on effect on financial markets. However, there are a few things you should be aware of. There's also, for instance, Asia on alert over Mexico's swine flu outbreak. Now, CIDRAP basically have taken a look at some of these things and has come up with this particular article: swine flu cases recall 1976 episode. Buried on the third sentence there. Now this is from April 22nd of this year. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, otherwise known as the CDC, announced yesterday, that would be April 21st, that 2 children in Southern California fell ill in late March with what turned out to be swine flu infections. Both of the children recovered and neither was hospitalized. So they're calling this a Mexican flu, when it would appear that the very first cases were from California. Now, CIDRAP is an independent organization of researchers. Labs confirm same swine flu in deadly Mexican outbreaks. Samples from a deadly respiratory illness outbreak in Mexico match swine influenza isolates from patients in the United States who had milder illnesses, an official from the CDC said today, fueling speculation that the World Health Organization could be on the verge of raising the global pandemic alert level. The swine flu, A/H1N1 strain, has been confirmed in one more U.S. citizen, a child from San Diego who has recovered, raising the total number of U.S. cases to 8. Now, an earlier article on CIDRAP should get people thinking quite a bit. H5N1 virus may be adapting to pigs in influenza. Pigs are seen as a possible intermediate host that could help avian flu viruses adapt to humans. The flu pandemics of 1957 and 1968 were caused by avian/human hybrid viruses, though it is not known if they arose in pigs because they weren't studying it at the time. What does this all have to do with influenza? 1918. Now, the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic evidently was an H1N1 virus that also contained other viruses. Now, there is postulation that it could have been the H5N1 virus, an earlier version of, mixed in with the H1N1 virus, along with other viruses. in some kind of genetically created toxic mix. Article linked here. US, a Japanese study finds genes for 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. A research team announced it had isolated 3 genes that explain why the 1918 Spanish flu, believed to be the deadliest infectious disease in history, was so lethal. The pandemic killed between 20 and 50 million people, although if you look at Wikipedia, there are reports it could have been as high as 100 million people worldwide. This equates to roughly 2.5 to 5% of the world's population killed off, primarily young adults. The reason for this, there's a lot of debate, and of course this was what the study was attempting to find out. We wanted to know why the 1918 flu caused severe pneumonia. The 1918 virus replicates in the upper respiratory tract, but also in the lungs, causing primary pneumonia among its victims. How did they find this out? It is because they've reconstituted the 1918 virus. Essentially, they found, frozen in the north of Norway, I believe it was, a number of victims of the 1918 virus. Now, of course, being so far north, their bodies did not decompose and the virus was still present in their bodies. So researchers now have copies of the 1918 swine flu pandemic to play with. Should you raise an eyebrow, be concerned in any way? Yes, you should. Earlier article, February 27th of this year, from oddly enough the Toronto Sun, but also covered by a number of other newspapers. The company that released contaminated flu virus material from a plant in Austria confirmed Friday that the experimental product contained live H5N1 avian flu virus, mixed in with a mix of H3N2 seasonal flu viruses. Companies basically saying, this is Baxter, they don't know how this all happened. But of course, if you understand about biosafety levels, you will understand that this should never have happened. There should never have been a combination such as this, the H3N2 and the H5N1 viruses, mixed together in the same little batch. Linked here from Wikipedia, Biosafety Level 3. These laboratories were supposed to be at this particular level, which says, along the lines of these things, there's no possible way these things could ever get put together unless it was intentional. A couple of articles from Wikipedia on the 1918 flu pandemic. Most of its victims were healthy young adults, in contrast to most influenza outbreaks. I'm not quite sure why, but it would appear the extraordinary toll resulted from an extremely high illness rate of up to 50%. Basically, half of the people exposed to this virus became ill, and the extreme severity of the symptoms suspected to be caused by cytokine storms, essentially the body going into overdrive trying to block this virus off. Okay, folks, it's out. It's coming. Be prepared. Peace, love, understanding, think about things. Don't panic. I will speak to you later. Bye.